Okay, today we are going to be discussing a very relevant topic. Is it permissible to use a scooter, skates, skateboard, bikes on Shabbos? Now, first of all, let's just clarify we are not talking about electric. Nowadays, it's become more and more popular. This type of hoverboards, one wheel, scooters that are electric. We're not talking about that. That certainly is a problem for numerous reasons. We're not discussing electric. We're talking about the good old-fashioned manual. That's what we're talking about over here. So is that permissible or not? Why are we discussing this? We're in the middle of Siman Reish Mem Ches. We already had 2 sessions on this where we're talking about, are you allowed to go on, let's say, for example, you want to go on your $5 million yacht on Shabbos. Are you allowed to do that? Practical question. A lot of us, we own $5 million yachts. So we have to know, are we allowed to or not? You want to go on a cruise, which is kosher because people are in the modestly dressed. The cruise is leaving before Shabbos. Could you remain on it? Could you be on the cruise on Shabbos? That's what we're in the middle of discussing. So from that, the poskim they tangent and they discuss this question regarding the scooters. I'm going to screen share over here. I'm going to break down some different sources about this topic and if we are allowed to scooter. And is there a difference between a scooter that has 2 wheels versus 3 wheels, children versus adults, and why? The Kaf Hachaim over in Hilchos Techumim, when it comes to an aruv in Siman Tuf Daled, in Os Ches, has several points on this. First of all, he wants to be stringent, and he says, you have a problem. You have a problem that you might go outside of the city. You might go out of the boundary. You have a maximum of 2,000 amos, or if you were clean the shvisa and you extend the techum, 4,000 amos. A lot of people don't realize. Aruv doesn't just mean that you have to stay within the city boundaries, right? In terms of carrying, you can't carry outside of the Aruv. Aruv means you're not allowed to walk more than 2,000 amos, which let's say is 4,000 feet, or if you extend it in a possible way by putting food at the end of 2,000 amos, called being kind of shvisa. More details on that, of course. So then you're able to go a distance of 4,000 amos, which is going to be 8,000 feet, which is around a mile and a half roughly. Now, more than that, you can't go if it's outside of the techum. There's a problem that you might come to ride outside of the techum, and the reason is because you go so much faster. You type in MapQuest or whatever, the Google Maps, you want to go to one destination or another. It asks how long will it take if you're walking, if you're driving, if you're riding. If you're riding, you see you go 3, 4, 5 times faster, right, than walking, than a pedestrian. So there's a concern that you might go outside of the city. Now, even if you're in a completely enclosed area with the techum, and there's not an issue of that, nevertheless, there's a concern that you might come to do it when you're in a more of a suburban area, right? This is really the main reason that we're going to be discussing over here. There's a concern of maybe it might break. All right. Now, let's just digress for a minute from this Kaf Hachaim to, I thought he said it over here. I think maybe the Sitz Eliezer is going to point this out in his Shilas and Shuvas. This is in Chelik Zayin and Siman Lamed over here. He says over here, included in the category of it might break is your tire might run out of air and you're going to need to put more air in the tire. Something along those lines.
What's the issue in putting air in a tire?
Very good. So the prohibition of this would be either it's makeh bepatish, which means you are completing the act, the final blow. Boneh, you are building. This is masakin. You're fixing something. Now, it is pointed out also somewhere else where I read in the Tshuva Sefer that this is similar to the reason why the rabbis prohibited us from playing instruments on Shabbos. The reason is because it might break and you might come to fix this. Someone who's a little less religious than me told me that he has a friend who's even a little less religious than him, who told him that one time he was in a conservative temple on Shabbos and their piano broke. Maybe it was a reform place, and they had to stop the services to fix the piano.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. So the rabbis know what they're talking about, okay? Now, the idea over here is that that is going to be the main.
I like when the Rav tells that story.
Carl, thanks for your approval, David. Appreciate it. Just David Shlita. If you don't know him already, you'll hear of him. You'll hear of him. Just give him a few more minutes. You'll hear of him. Al kol panim, that's what the Kaf Hachaim says, and this is really a main concern. Anyone who scooters on Shabbos, you have to ask them, how do they get out of this? All right. Now, we didn't discuss the difference between a two-wheel scooter, three-wheel, children out. We're going to come back to all of that. Stay patient over here. Now, there's another issue over here. The issue is sometimes you could be on an incline. Bikes, you see this. Some people, the proper etiquette is to get off of your bike when you cross the street at a red light. That's the official. Most people don't do it, but there's a concern you're going to get off of your method of transportation that you're using, carry it in a place where there's not an aruv, and then relocate it somewhere else. That is another serious concern over here that we're talking about. And therefore, there's no difference between Shabbos and aruv regarding many of these problems. Yeah.
so understand, if there's nowhere, we're not worried about him riding the bike. I mean, we're worried about him getting off the bike in a place where there's not an aruv.
That's right.
He's riding the bike anyway.
That's right, because he could be within the techum, but he's out of the aruv.
And if he's riding the bike outside the aruv, but within the techum, there's no isser in that case?
Maybe. So what to look into there in Hilchos Eruvin. Okay. All right. Definitely more of an isser if you're going to pick the thing up itself. Okay. The Shelas Yaakov was a Hungarian Rav, father-in-law of the Maharam Shik. Right. Rabbi Yaakov ben Mordechai Segel, Prague. And he says there's a bomb over here. There's no Eruv over there. He goes through Hilchos Eruvin. Then he quotes a Chassam Sofer who says anything that is a tircha, that is considered a burden, so to say, on Shabbos, even if it is not one of the 39 malachos of Shabbos, it is prohibited. Then he unleashes the potential issue of uvdin dechol, a week-like activity. And therefore, people use these vehicles, aka scooters, bikes, as methods of transportation during the week. You see people using non-electric scooters all the time. And there's also concern that he's going to go outside of the techum, use it for business. So in other words, this is more like a weekday situation. What you're doing, Shabbos is supposed to be the day of rest. It's uvdin dechol. It's a week-like activity. At the end of the tshuva, he has fiery words on this topic. And he says it's impossible to believe a rav, a rabbi who paskins, who rules, a rabbi that has fear of heaven, who would rule that it's permissible to use a scooter or skates on Shabbos.
He's talking about a bicycle, or he's talking about
wheels.
Really?
And it says someone who permits this, Hashem should help him to return to the path of repentance to fix this sin. Harsh l'shoinos. The koibetz mebeis medrashoy shel Baal Shevet Alevi in Chelik Vav, page Nun Gimel, says that this is no worse than what it says in Shulchan Aruch in Siman Shir Aleph. Shelo yehu luchecha shel Shabbos ki luchecha shel chol. The way we walk on Shabbos is different than we walk during the week. You don't just walk fast for no reason. If you're not going to a mitzvah. Certainly, you can't ride on these types of items. Clear cut. Charles Juva Sitz Eliezer discusses that this is a problem potentially of a bitalo on Shabbos. Essentially, that's what he means. Your body's going to be moving fast. You might get sick from that, similar to the ships that we learned, the reasoning of the Rif, the Rambam. You might get seasick. You're not going to be able to eat. It's not going to be an Oneg Shabbos. We're going to come back to that a little bit more. Then he has another tshuva where he goes into this more. And he says This is baru, pashut, it's obvious, and it's a chayv, it's an obligation on every single rav, in every single place, that this should not be breached. And in chas v'shalom, it is breached, terrible. Tell them, stop doing it.
I think that some deal, some rough costing, I guess, because people are rich, that they could use the bicycle, but if it breaks, just leave it somewhere.
I mean, you have to address the 8 reasons that we just presented over here. Dissect each one. What's his head? Rabbi Eliezer Waldenberg. He's a chashava Rav our day and age in Eretz Yisrael, and he's the posek for Shari said the hospital, massive hospital in Israel, and he's very involved with medical. Big Talmid Chacham.
Still around?
I think he was just nifta recently. I think. Might still be alive though. Not 100%. Not 100%. Shabbos and Chuvas Ber Moshe, the Debetzina Rebbe. In Chelik Vov, Siman Tez Zayin, addresses a scooter with 3 wheels, aka the ones that my children use. Says it's mutter. You could use something with 3 wheels. Now, really, he's talking about a tricycle over here. But this would apply to a 3-wheeled scooter as well. Why is it permissible? 2 wheels, no good. 3 wheels is good. Why? Everyone knows a tricycle belongs to a little kid. And therefore it's okay. However, when it has the bell that makes that cute little ding sound, which if they do it 5,862 times in a row, it gets annoying. You got to close that thing up. So that it can't be used on Shabbos. That is awesome. But a regular 2-wheeled bike, nothing doing. You can't ride that on Shabbos. Even for children. Even if it's recognizable, it's a children's bike, that's going to be an issue. When it comes to adults, it's also not allowed. This is the main reason it might break. It's common, it could happen. Similar to the reason, here's the one who says it, to instruments on Shabbos. They were concerned that you might come to fix it, like we said before, the piano story. It's also uvd in the chol, week-like activity. Should be pointed out, some argue on this reasoning of uvd in the chol. Who said, okay, so for discussion, you might go outside of the techum, you see, he sums it up very nice, and then he says, look here, look there, look all these chuvas farm. We just looked at some of them. This is only talking about a katan she'higia לחינוך, a child who reached the age of education. If he didn't reach the education, he's 5, 6 for sure, you can let him do it. That's the tshuva that he says over here. Lastly, some who were noteworthy to point out, but we did not go through. This is the Shilas and Chuvas Yaskel Avdi, which some of them quote over here. If you wanna pause this to look it up, screen. There you have it. Get that out of your way. Here's the tshuva. You could pause to read the whole thing if you are interested. Long tshuva. I went through it, most of it. Just skimmed it quickly. We don't need to spend time on it. This is just a noteworthy mention.
So the Debretzina's halacha would go for scooters as well.
Yeah.
2-wheeler.
Yeah. Another noteworthy mention. Shilas and Chuvas Maharshag. All right. Gonna pause the screen, read it. I'm sure probably no one will, but I just like doing this anyways to give the options out there for if someone does wanna. Rare, but one person does, it's worth it. And the River Prime, short little idea on this. I think it's actually a whole discussion how to read this. I thought I put a mark there. Yeah, right there. That mark. That's the main part. Just lastly, we'll wrap it up with this. All of these sources were due to one of my favorites, farm, which you have to fact check and look up to learn properly. In Reish Mem Ches, he condenses these ideas briefly over here and says, even if there's an aruv, you're not going to go outside of the techum. Your body's moving also is a problem. Like we said, even though young people, they enjoy that, they don't get sick from that. Nevertheless, there's other reasons, and that is the custom to say that it is prohibited. and someone who belittles this is including in the words of the Ramban, who says that a prohibition of a Torah is to not do your Shabbos like the week, even with something that isn't a malacha, like we saw the Chassam Sofer said. Children, you could permit it in a specific situation, like we discussed in the Debetziner over there. Shmir Shabbos Kil Chasa. He says that skates is included on this. This word korer, kint, I actually looked it up. It means scooter. If you look it up in Google's dictionary, translated from Hebrew to English. So scooter, same idea. A lot of the sources that we just saw, all down here in the footnotes. There's really nothing that could be added after you looked it up. We already saw all of these ideas being addressed. I would also like to bring up another point once we're on this topic. Is it permissible to use a scooter on Shabbos? Is it permissible to use a scooter on Shabbos? This is why I call it shtus GDP as opposed to chat GDP or AI. You could call it shtus I, foolish I, or foolish GDP. If you type in Google, is it permissible to use a scooter on Shabbos? They say generally using a scooter on Shabbos within an aruv is permissible. That's wrong. AI, you should somehow decipher the shiur that I just gave and the several hours of research that I did on this topic and all of the tshuvas farm before you're quoting wrong halacha, and then your average Orthodox Jew who Googles something is learning the wrong halacha. Because people who rely on this is a perfect example from a very organized way of presenting the information that the general halacha is it's prohibited for the around 10 reasons that we just presented. That's the general halacha. And according to AI, generally it's permissible. It's definitely not.
You bring in sources?
Yeah, sources. Who cares what the sources are? This is wrong. There's no sources. You look up these sources, you'll see no Orthodox rabbi would I actually looked at some of these articles. No Orthodox rabbi said that it's okay. No one.
Click on that paper clip.
You want to click on this one?
The paper clip.
Which one? This paper clip?
Yeah.
A standard non-electric scooter is generally permissible for use within an aruv, even in a seated position, provided it's not being used for transportation. Where is it? Where should I click on now?
Okay, this one, I guess it's one.
Paper clip. Now what? Now what? You gonna click on one of these things?
I guess.
Which one you gonna click on? No, do it. Which one you gonna click on? Tell me. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt.
You want to try the first one? Try the
First one? We'll do all of them. Yeah. And who's this? Rosh Hashiva sponsor by Linzer. Who is this?
Oh, wait. I have a kind who can no longer walk.
Maryland. Hold on. Who is this? Rabbi Linzer.
Scroll all the way
Let's
down.
get a fact check. Let's get a fact check. Is he Orthodox? Rabbi Linzer. Okay.
From where?
Rosh Hashiva of Chovevei Torah.
Oh.
What's that? Modern Orthodox Yeshiva in Riverdale.
Is one of those
That's
left
one.
wing.
That's one of the left wing. Okay. Let's see. A podcaster. Okay. Blah blah blah. Chayvi Torah. A dean. Okay. Say over here. Okay. What's this over here? A gender balanced wedding? What's this? That's Orthodox?
What?
What?
No, do it balanced wedding.
The same gender?
I don't think so.
It's a 2-ring ceremony.
Each one puts a ring on the other, it sounds like.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's not such an Orthodox belief. Okay. A standard Orthodox. Okay, so anything. So why do I need to read what he even says? Whole machlokes with this? Okay.
I have a congregant who can I've no longer walked to shul. Since the option of using grandma scooters approved by.
That's grandma. That's something else. That's talking about. This is already not talking about a regular scooter that we're talking about. No, this is talking about for older people. You're allowed to sit on a. You understand? Older person. A lot of times they can't walk.
Right.
So they sit on a type of like wheelchair situation. It's called a scooter and it's electric and it's a grama, so it's delayed when they push the button. So then there's a whole discussion about that. We weren't
Somebody
discussing
was
that.
sick,
We're talking
right,
about a regular
right,
scooter.
right.
So this article already we could get out of because it's not talking about a regular scooter. Okay? Right? Saying this is
I would also
this is talking about someone else.
let's see. I would also say,
There's electric scooters. This is something else.
all right, so it's electric. It doesn't say.
This is electric. So okay, done. Okay. Next one, you're gonna click on this one.
Let's see that one.
Okay. We'll go through each source of the AI. It's gonna try to fit in the parsha today. We'll do it tomorrow, no problem. You're allowed to ride a scooter on Shabbos. Who is this? What website is this? I don't know. It looks good. I like the ads there in Hebrew. There's no preaches. It looks good. If there's no aruv, it's forbidden. If there is an aruv or it's an enclosed area, ride of the scooter is like any game. I don't know what that means, like other game and what's the source. Okay. Although some posts can forbid bicycles because they may get a flat tire, scooters generally have solid rubber tires. Nevertheless, it's a good idea to have riding scooters on Shabbos as one is over bar mitzvah, similar to other certain games that one can be more valid on the spiritual side. Okay, that was a brief answer, not so thorough, and he is not permitting it.
Right.
Okay, next source. He's talking about electric scooter. Maybe he'll talk about a regular in here.
I know where it gets the.
Okay, using an electric scooter. Who is this, anyways? Beis Midrash Gavoa al Halacha v'Rafua. I have the name Beis Midrash Gavoa. This probably isn't Lakewood. Why are they using that name? Cane or a walker without. This is just electric. This is electric. This is grandma. This has nothing to do with the regular scooter, and no one here even said it was permissible. So, okay, let's click that button again. Non-electric scooters section. Okay.
Let's read the whole.
Okay.
All right, try to take a look. I'm just trying to find out where they get it from.
If you want to try to find more time trying to defend AI, they're wrong.
Of course it's wrong. I'm just curious who said that. Where'd they get that it's mutter?
Yeah.
I mean, from who did they get that it was mutter?
Don't know. So anyone who tries to learn halacha from AI, I'm referencing them to the shir that I gave. And this is why I'm publicizing this. And this is why I started making everything that I'm doing over here public. Because there's so much diluted and distorted Torah out there that is totally false. Someone's got to put real Torah.
And then sometimes it quotes a source that's not even reliable.
This is real Torah. There's nothing to talk about. And there was one thing down here that I saw. Is it this one? See, these I already clicked on. You could see because they're purple. Ask the rabbi.
That's the one we saw, right?
No. This is something else. Rabbi David Sperling. I think was this the Florida one?
Using non-electrical manual.
Yeah, Florida. It's very hot. Very hot. I can't go to shul. I moved a mile and a half away from the shul because I wanted a fancy house that was a couple $100,000 off. And now because of that, I don't want to walk a mile and a half. It's too hot because I wanted to save a couple dollars. So now can I use the scooter? Yeah. Good job trying to get there in the heat. May it save you from Gehenna, the heat over here down below. Very nice way to start it off. Cute. Manual scooter. First thing, turn to local rabbi. Yeah. Okay. Very aruv way of saying it over. All right. Now, okay, you got to discuss it over here. Local rabbis, blah, blah, blah. He's ranting a little bit over here. All right. What are the issues? First of all, no aruv, old news. Next, the question is possibility you might run out of aruv. Additionally, you walk differently than during the week. All right.
He quote that he's quoting everything.
He's bringing it down in short and not quoting the sources at all, but okay. But the major reason most rabbis forbid it is its weekday activity. Interesting that he says that. I would say the main reason is he might come to fix it.
I think he didn't mention it.
He did, but he calls this the major reason.
Okay.
I don't know if that was so major. In fact, what we just saw, well, we didn't see it, but I saw somewhere some even argue on uved in the whole week-like activity. All right. So he said it could be a difference going for fun versus meaning up and down the driveway.
He tries to show the children thing.
The children thing. Yeah, however, I'd recommend you turn to your local rabbi for advice and ruling. Very practical level, he might be able to arrange for you to leave a change of underclothes at shul to change into. I like that. Again, may the merit of Shabbos keep. Any Orthodox rabbi is not going to allow such a thing.
No, he was very good. He tried to be very,
He tried to keep it hariv and not too intense. I don't need to do that. I don't care.
I know, but you have to know who you're dealing with.
Yeah, you got to know.
Dealing with.
Yeah, you got to know your crowd and everything. Was this? We saw this one. Traveling. Okay, we saw that was the controversy. Okay. Anyways, look, you guys know how to Google stuff on your own. Yeah. Who's this? Shiva.co. We saw this one already?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, okay, we saw that one. All right. Look, people know this was that was a shear that I clicked on. I didn't watch the whole shear. You could watch that though.
So what?
I didn't watch the shear. If you want to watch this shear, you let me know what he says. I know he is. He's in 5 towns
He's
now.
in 5 towns. Yes,
Yeah.
my son goes to his.
How long is the shear? I don't know. I'd be shocked if he permits the thing.
I'd be shocked.
Maybe he has more sources. To be honest, I don't. I mean, all the sources you probably get is where I got it from. He's probably getting them from the same places. The truth is, I could have looked into this more, but this is a start on the topic. You want to watch this year? Tell me if it adds anything.
I'll leave a note for myself tonight.
I'll email it to you. Anyways, the point is, fellas, is we learned 2 things tonight. Number 1, today, I should say, this morning. Number 1, anyone who says that you're allowed to use a scooter on Shabbos says the thing twice. Right? Number 2 is AI, Chat DGP, Rabbi AI, all these things. You ain't a rabbi. Right? Not happening. Right? Not gonna happen. I just want to screen share all my notes, which I'm gonna put in the description anyways. If anyone made it this long into the video over here, I know you guys made it long because you're here. These are my notes over here. Right. Bear Moshe says tricycle is permissible to use on Shabbos because everyone knows that it belongs to a kid. Or a 2-wheel bike be prohibited to use. Even so, regarding a tricycle, it's correct to remove the bell or clog it up. Once you stop a child to reach the age of halachik from riding on a 2-wheeler bike on Shabbos. Should be pointed out this is referring to non-electric. Anything that is electric is certainly prohibited. Following is a list of halachik issues using a bike, skates, or scooter on Shabbos. Kaf Hachaim says that there's a potential aruv issue. Someone right outside of the aruv of the city. I'm gonna email it to you, don't worry. Kaf Hachaim explains that it might break and you might come to fix it. There's a problem of boneh or makeh bepatish. By the way, who says that?
Makeh.
Like we just saw before. Makeh bepatish, completing the act, final blow. Here Moshe explains this is similar to why the rabbis forbid using an instrument on Shabbos. The instrument might break and you're going to fix it. Refilling the air in the tires is very common. It's a major concern and issue. Kaf Hachaim explains there might be an area we're not going to be able to drive. When would they need to carry this as an area? It will be an issue. Chacham Seifer says that if it's a burden, it's prohibited even if it's not one of the 39 malachos. Shelas Yaakov explains this is considered uvin the whole week-like activity. Jens' tshuva responds by stating that it's possible to believe any rav who paskins the halacha and fears Hashem would permit this. Rabbi Shmuel Vosner explains that the halacha is that the way we walk on Shabbos must be different than the way we walk during the week. Riding on something with wheels is certainly more of an issue than walking differently on Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer Waldenberger explains that one's body is going to be moving around a lot. It seems like he's touching a potential problem of nullification of owning Shabbos, similar to someone who gets seasick and won't be able to eat properly. Questions, comments?
Yeah. So, like for example, tzitzis. So why are we concerned about tying tzitzis on Shabbos? The tzitzis come undone. What's I mean it's
Since it's a problem of kosher of tying, you're not allowed to tie. What is that topic that we're learning about?
I'm saying, but just certain things coming to do a malach on Shabbos. What's that's something that you might come across, but you don't. It's still.
Sixes, fixing your sixes is not done frequently when you tighten them. Number 1, number 2 is that it's a mitzvah in and of itself and a requirement. Going on a scooter, number 1, is not a requirement, and number 2, it's more likely that you're going to come to fix something that there's an issue with on a bike or on a scooter. Bikes have more issues because there's more moving parts, but there are issues that come up with scooters. You might even come to adjust the thing. Also, that's probably fine to do, but I don't know. There's an issue of some sort. You also have some of these scooters where the wheels they light up when you go. What?
The fact it's a mitzvah itself.
Yeah.
All right. A bike is not a.
No.
I see people. I mean, it's open. They're used in certain neighborhoods by Syrians. They're used.
Syrians in neighbors that are.
I don't. I'm not sure. And then you also have.
Careful.
You also have people that have bike chauffeurs too.
Chauffeurs?
You have two people. You have a seat, and then a guy is there's a guy
Or
driving
in a
this
bike
with
or in a car?
a bike.
Oh, good.
It's common. It's common here.
It's common.
And then no, in Flatbush.
Yeah. Okay. Look, that's what we just learned about. You have to get out of all those 8 reasons that we just presented. Those are legitimate concerns, none of which I made up. I'm just reporting. I'm not twisting anything. Nothing here. I didn't make up one thing. All right. Everyone should have a wonderful day. We'll resume to our
Have a good day.
Yeah.